Hey Mud Socks ladies, I just wanted to do a little video recording of how I'm going to make the bag that Anne showed us attached to the inside of her beach tote. She gave us the extra pieces and they measure about 7 inches wide by 13 inches long. And what I've done is cut 2 pieces that are the 7 inches wide and 2 inches, and then just of course iron them by folding in half and then folding those sides into the inside into that fold so that I've got a bias, or not a bias but a binding. The next step is that I take the binding that I've created and I'm going to sew that folded side to the zipper tape. And you want to, of course, sew that as close to this edge as you can without going off of it. So at least 1/8. Definitely not 1/4 of an inch, but try to get in that 1/8 of an inch. You don't want your zipper teeth to be that close to this edge, so give a little bit of distance between those so that the zipper pull can slide easily. Once you're done sewing, you're going to have something that looks like this. You've got your open ends here, and then your zipper is secured to your fabric strips. And now we're going to attach this to the screen. Here I am prepared to sew one of the zipper sides to the screen, and I've just pushed that screen into the opening of the binding and just make sure that it is nestled as close to that sewn line so it's as secure as possible. And then you're going to sew down this side to secure through all the layers. So again, you want to be close to the edge but not right on the edge, but yet not 1/4 of an inch in. Now, the problem is going to be that you're going to try to get this edge into that binding there, but you're going to be kind of tricky because you're creating a tube. So best bet is to have a very long zipper so that you can unzip this zipper to the max and be able to facilitate your sewing, because ultimately we're going to cut off our zipper ends that we don't need later on. So right now, just use the benefit of that big wide open zipper to be able to sew your next piece. As you can see, I've opened up the binding and I'm just slipping the edge of the screen into the binding, and then you just kind of want to secure that down. And then what you can do is use pins if you need to keep that secured so that you can get it to your sewing machine. But when I open the zipper, then basically that allows this edge to be free and clear so that I can transfer it to my sewing machine. And then keeping that screen as tucked up in there as possible, go ahead and sew across. And before you, after you pin that, what you want to make sure is that the zipper, when closed, has not distorted either side so that they're meeting and laying flat. You don't want to end up with something that looks like this. So having that zipper closed when you match up the opposite side and get it secured is very important. Okay, here's my little pouch. I've got the zipper sides all sewn in with the screen, and now what you're going to do is you want to trim off and even up your sides. But before you do that, you do need to move this zipper down into the midsection of your pouch, because you don't want to cut this off and effectively cut off your zipper pull. But even if you did, there are ways to get the zipper pull back on, but that's for another tutorial. When I go to trim my sides off on something like this, I use a thinner rotary cutting ruler so that I can keep that zipper as zipped as possible, because once you unzip it, then you can see how those sides over here will start to spread out, and you want to keep that zipper as close to center as possible when you're cutting along your edges there, so there's no distortion of your sides. I have this side neatly cut. I have repositioned my zipper a little bit more toward that side, making sure I don't go off of that end, and then I will even this up on the other side. Now that I have everything sewn together, what I need to do is gently turn this to the wrong sides out so that I can sew the seam, and then that's when we'll determine where we want this opening to be, generally further up toward the top of your bag. Here I have everything turned wrong sides out, and then I have kind of repositioned it so that you see I have a little bit more than an inch of the top of the bag showing. You can make that thinner, longer. You can even actually make the top of the bag be the zipper opening. But anything that's within that 1 inch for the top exposed piece is probably a good average. When you're prepared to sew, you still want to make sure that your zipper is at least halfway to a little bit more open, because you're going to have to turn the bag inside out through this zipper opening. So you don't want it closed for sure, but you don't want it all the way into the seam over here. And I'm going to sew with about a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. A 1/4 inch would probably work. Half inch is a little bit more than you probably need. So I'm going to kind of get in the middle there. As you are sewing across this edge, you want to make sure that you keep those loose zipper ends snugged up together, laying flat there, so that you don't have any gap when the zipper is closed. And then here it is. I've got my seams sewn on both sides, and now what I'm going to do is open this up where that zipper is open and turn the bag inside out. Okay, ladies, after I sewed the seams, I decided that I needed the strap to attach to the bag, so I undid the seam right there in the upper corner, added my tab, and then what I've done is I have actually done a top stitch on both sides to help keep that pouch a little bit more flat, and so it wasn't so puffy on the sides. Now to attach it to the inside of the bag as I sew the seams. Here's the finished bag, and I sewed the other end of the strap in when I sewed the binding over the edges. So this is my finished bag. It's got turtles on it. I wish I'd centered the turtle in the panel, but oh well. There's always next time for that. This is the prototype. I'll learn better.